Hey guys, this is 182. Welcome back to Zoo Tycoon Complete Collection Whale and Shark Zoo. This is the second and last episode in which I will be introducing sharks, because there are a grand total of 4. Last time we got probably the two most well known, the great white shark and the tiger shark. Personally, I've always been a fan of the hammerhead, so we're going to go with the hammerhead next. The hammerhead is also one of the most fascinating shallow water fish. I realize it's going to make too much of a blanket statement. It's not anywhere near as interesting as anything down below where light is. That stuff is just insane. Alright, first things first. Uh-oh, the great white shark can't find food. Not currently my problem. Okay. I should have known that wouldn't work. At this point, I need to do this. This. And this. Make it so that my maintenance guy doesn't have to go all the way around for when I put a filter in. It does mean that the exhibit is going to cost slightly more. But again, not really my problem. Alright, so I would like to fit both the hammerhead and the short fin mako shark here, but I don't think I can. I might be able to. The hammerhead is 1x3. Yeah, so if I go 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, the short fin mako is smaller. So yeah, I think I can fit both. And if not, there's room for expansion. So. There. A reference that's a couple stages removed. Oh, it needs a shelter. But I was right, that was enough space. Space. That's what it's called. Or room. Room is also a valid word. Do they not care? Alright, let's see what foliage they like. They like seagrass, which is actually foliage. A rarity among marine mania creatures, as I've found. And Atlantean rocks, because apparently everything's from Atlantis. Alright. I do need a new marine person to go there. I need to double check my specialist. Yep. Dang, the whales and the sharks are eating so much. I am so surprised by this. I'm not. Alright. The great hammerhead shark. Or Sphyrna mocaran is the largest of the 9 species of hammerheads. Hammerheads are a distinct group of sharks with a wide, flat, almost rectangular head with eyes at the sides. You might even say it's hammer-shaped. I don't know why they didn't. The great hammerhead is one of the largest of the predatory sharks. The great hammerhead averages 11 feet in length, but has been known to grow up to 20 feet long, weighing anywhere from 500 to 1,000 pounds. The first dorsal fin is very tall and pointed. This is the triangular fin associated with sharks by most people. Yeah, so if you see this fin, that's not a great white. That's a hammerhead. Hammerheads have a second, shorter dorsal fin. Despite being shorter, this fin can still be as long as 5% of the shark's total body length. I guess that's what they're calling the other dorsal fin? They don't have a good example of that one. The hammer of these sharks is clearly their distinguishing feature. Yes, now they say it's hammer-shaped. The head is often slightly indented in the center of the rectangular hammer, and the head can make up to a quarter of the shark's total length. Okay, I should probably specify, because they didn't. The length of the hammer can be up to a quarter of the shark's total length. The hammer is not wide enough that the width takes up 1/4 of its length, which is what the words here would imply. Still an impressive number, just rotated 90 degrees to get the correct wording. This large head can be moved up and down as well as side to side due to specifically developed muscles in the head and neck. In other words, the shark has a neck. Okay, to be fair, among fish, that is very notable. Besides expanding the shark's visual range, the hammer-shaped head may be an important part of the shark's electroreceptive system. Side note, pretty sure that's been confirmed by now. That it is an important part. Electroreception is the ability of some sharks and a small number of other aquatic animals to detect electrical signals as they travel through the water. Any muscle contraction by any animal creates an electrical signal, including the contractions of a beating heart, and water conducts electricity extremely well. False. That is very, very false. Quick science lesson. Water is a terrible conductor of electricity when pure. Salt water, where the hammerhead sharks live, is a phenomenal conductor of electricity because salt is a wonderful conductor of electricity when dissolved in water, and just about any impurity in water makes it more conductive. So, just little science fact there. If you have pure water, don't expect it to conduct electricity very well. You're not going to have pure water. It's incredibly difficult to make in quantities large enough to care about outside of science experiments, which are fun, but now I'm getting way too off topic. Sharks use small organs called ampullae of Lorenzini to detect these electric fields. An ampulla is a pore with a jelly-filled pit below it. That is a very interesting way of phrasing it. Hairless sensory cells in these pits are stimulated by electrical signals and send information about them to the shark's brain to be processed along with auditory, visual, and olfactory inputs. There are several uses for this sense. A shark that cannot see or smell can still find a flatfish buried in the mud using the sense. And since this sense is over 100 times more sensitive than is needed to detect a resting fish, it may also be used for navigation, since the Earth has a magnetic field. Since corroding metal produces weak voltages, sharks sometimes attack metal objects like boats. Now, they don't specify, the reason being they think if it gives off the right kind of signal, they might go, that doesn't look like any fish I've eaten, but it feels like a fish, so I'm going to eat it. And then they don't eat it because it's made of metal and they move on. When not attacking submarines, the great hammerhead shark prefers food such as sardines, herring, tarpon, jacks, grouper, sea cats, flatfish, and croaker. Flatfish here specifically is a really notable one. Flatfish are really, really hard for most predatory fish to notice. Sharks are one of the few predators that basically ignore the camouflage, with hammerhead sharks being the premier one. It doesn't matter how well you blend in with the ground. If you have a heartbeat, the hammerhead shark can find you. They also eat stingrays, skates, and other sharks. Skates are another type of ray. And yes, to put a long story short, all predatory sharks will eat sharks if given the opportunity. And in general, sharks are actually pretty nourishing, pretty good meat to bone ratio. In order to consume a ray, the great hammerhead uses its head to pin the hapless ray down, and then bites off the wings before consuming its prey. Some hammerhead sharks eat so many stingrays that they develop an immunity to the poison of these creatures, despite having their mouths and jaws continually stuck with stingers. Other ones just die. Hammerhead sharks prefer tropical waters and the warmer of the world's temperate waters. Many migrate to cooler waters in the summer, returning to the tropics in the winter. The sharks are found in depths up to 260 feet, and when far from shore, are often sighted in large schools. Like many sharks, baby hammerheads are born alive. They are viviparous, meaning that the eggs hatch within the mother, and the young mature in the uterus before being born. Unlike many other sharks, female hammerheads have both a placenta and an umbilical cord and can thus nourish their young, helping to prevent the rampant cannibalism that occurs in many other shark species. That's a great note to end on. Yeah. So, other fun facts. The great hammerhead can travel up to 25 miles per hour. Lives for about 20 to 30 years. The great hammerhead is an endangered species. Straight up endangered, not a vulnerable, not a threatened, straight up endangered. Another thing they didn't mention, hammerhead sharks are also pretty distinctive in that these ones, they have black, gray on top, but they tend to be brown. They tend to have a nice brown top coat, and then the white underbelly, because everything has a white underbelly. Almost literally. They have the same type of scales as the other sharks. They have denticles. Their brood is female hammerheads can give birth to up to 40 pups. It also didn't mention that they will eat cephalopods and crustaceans. So that'd be squid, octopus. I'm actually not... Presumably... crabs... wouldn't be lobsters. Lobsters are too far north. And they will... And... As mentioned... They are eaten by other sharks, and of course, the orcas. And while it was kind of a side note, because the hammerhead shark's real claim to fame is its ability to use its head as basically an electroscanner. The way its eyes are set also gives it some of the best vision of any shark. Which is definitely saying something. That to go here. I think that name works on like 5 different levels. Okay, now I gotta do this part. Okay, and there's a Lobby's restaurant there. Got that. Now, short-fin mako sharks. First, let me take care of them. As I mentioned last time, short-fin mako sharks are one of the animals in here, or that I've put in this zoo specifically. The short-fin mako shark is the one that I had the most misconceptions about, almost entirely because I was mixing it up with a different species of shark entirely. Let's see, tree coral. Fun fact, coral's not foliage either. Okay, hang on. Let me pause and go through this. Seagrass is foliage. Feather duster worm is not. Tree coral is not. Fire coral is not. Sponges are not. Sand dollars are not. Sea anemones are not. Sea stars are not. Tube worms are not. Coral is not. Sponges are not. Urchins are not. I'm actually not familiar with the gorgonian. I'm just going to assume that one's actually foliage, because then that gets us a total of 2. Sea cucumbers are not. Sargassum is foliage. Barnacles are not. Beach grass is foliage. Seaweed is foliage. Sea lettuce is foliage. Clams are not foliage. Kelp is foliage. Sea stars are not foliage. So that goes 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are, of all the foliage, there are 7 that are actually plants, and that's if the red gorgonian is a plant. And I honestly don't care enough to look it up right now. Because it's honestly irrelevant. I don't even know what likes the gorgonian. A majority of the marine species like seagrass and kelp. Congratulations, you've been given the Bronze Shark Statue Excellent Shark Conservation Award for displaying at least 4 different shark species in a highly suitable exhibit comes with a cash reward of $10,000. Yep, at least 4. As I said, there are 4 in the game. The reason it says at least 4 is because because of the in-game template. You have received an award for fill in the blank for displaying at least number species of type of species. This comes with a cash award of 10,000. Now, short fin. Oh no! Please tell me I didn't screw that up. Okay, everything seems fine. No need to panic. That's not how I get information about the mako shark. The mako shark gets its name from the Maori language of New Zealand. In Maori, the term, I should guess I'd make it mako mako, means man-eater, an apt name for a fish that has destroyed boats and killed fishermen while fighting the hook. I should specify, they're talking about fighting against fishermen's hook, not hooks in general. Or Captain Hook. That's a crocodile. Or alligator. It actually depends on... Never mind. This cartilaginous fish is known as the blue pointer, the mackerel shark, the snapper shark, and the bonito shark in various parts of the world. Scientifically known as Isurus oxyrhynchus, the mako shark is commonly considered a game fish by fishermen around the world. But, however, the shark is not easy to hook. That's an understatement. While fighting to escape the hook, the mako shark has been known to leap 20 feet into the air and travel at speeds of 22 miles per hour, making it one of the fastest fish in the world. Slight aside here. Since this, the short fin mako shark, I'm not sure whether I'm gonna keep calling it mako or mako. I figure if I say them about half the time, then I'm right half the time. But since Zoo Tycoon came out, the short-fin mako shark has been clocked at going 45 miles per hour. Leaping 20 feet into the air is still insane. Alright. Although the average mako is under 10 feet long, known specimens have exceeded 13 feet in length and 1,000 pounds in weight. Since then, that has been updated to 1,200 pounds has been clocked. Or I guess not clocked, recorded. The mako shark has a dark purple body with a silvery coloration on the sides, fading to a white belly. These sharks have 2 dorsal fins, a pair of narrow pectoral fins, and an anal fin. On their narrow heads, they have prominent eyes and a conical snout. A set of long gill slits allows the shark to breathe just as other fish do. I hear Santa. Santa's not a shark. He needs to go away. Oh, fine. Show up on my screen. It's Santa. The mako has long curved teeth that it can use to grasp fish, the staple of its diet. These teeth can be seen even when the shark's mouth is closed. Like other sharks, the mako has 2 rows of teeth for catching prey and several more rows as backups that will move up to replace broken, lost, or damaged teeth. The mako has two jaws that are separate from the animal's skull. These jaws are attached with ligaments and muscles and can be operated independently. Since sharks do not chew their food, the mako uses its jaws to carve prey before consuming it. Yeah, I guess you can call it that. They just kind of tear it apart. The first strike is with the lower jaw, wounding the prey animal. Then the mako uses its upper jaw to bite off a piece of the flesh. If the prey is small enough, the shark will simply swallow it whole, using gill rakers in the back of its mouth to prevent the prey from swimming back out. Once these large chunks of flesh are swallowed whole, the mako's strong digestive system takes over. The stomach has loose walls and can stretch to accommodate very large meals. Extra strong gastric juices begin breaking down flesh as soon as the food enters the stomach. And when non-food items are swallowed along with food, the mako shark can evert its stomach, pushing it inside out to force the foreign objects back out. If the shark is threatened, it may evert its stomach, releasing any food in its stomach as a decoy meal to distract the predator that is threatening it. Evert is an interesting word choice. It's the correct one. So, essentially, it can puke at will. And it will either do that if something is in there that shouldn't be, or if it feels threatened, it pukes out a distraction. Yeah. The mako makes up most of its diet with pelagic or bottom-dwelling fish. These fish include bluefish, mackerel, and tuna. Makos prefer schooling fish and will migrate to higher latitudes in the summers to continue feeding on tuna schools. But the mako will eat almost anything it can catch, including swordfish. With the swords! No. No, just... No. It's not actually a sword. It's a bill. Swordfish have a flat sword-shaped bill. Yeah, you know what. They also eat squid and small cetaceans, which recall means whales. And a mako shark angry about being hooked will attack a human. Many divers are familiar with the mako pattern of attack. Just before striking, a mako shark will often circle its prey in a figure-8 pattern and then approach with open jaws. This is a signal to the diver that it is time to leave the area. I should specify, the figure-8 pattern is the signal to leave the area, not the jaws coming at you at 45 miles per hour. You're not leaving the area at that point. You're done. Like many other, but not all, sharks, the mako shark is oviviparous. This means the eggs produced by the mother hatch and the uterus develop there before the mother gives birth to the pups. These eggs have a much thinner membrane than those of sharks who lay eggs in egg sacs and deposit them in the ocean. Because the eggs are not sufficient to nourish the young, they will often eat other unfertilized eggs in the uterus or even turn to cannibalism. That was not a good explanation there. It's as with all viviparous sharks, those that hatch feed off of unfertilized eggs, fertilized eggs, and if there's not enough food to go around, other undeveloped sharks within the womb. All of them. Every single one does that. It's not... It's really interesting how the same thing has been described 4 different ways. Anyway, the thing to take away about the short-fin mako shark is it has 2 jaws that are independent of each other. They jump. They can jump insanely high. To put the 20 feet in perspective, an orca that is completely out of water is about 30 feet. Well, actually, the ones more in captivity tend to be smaller. So odds are you're looking at a 25 foot there, so just under where an orca would jump. If you've ever seen an orca show, if you replace that with a short-fin mako shark, which is significantly smaller, it would probably reach around the base of the orca's jaw instead of the tip. Except it's smaller, so it would be even further out of the water. Okay, continuing on. Short-fin mako sharks tend to live 28 to 35 years. They are solitary predators. They are vulnerable to extinction. As with all other sharks, their scales are the tooth-like denticles. A female short-fin mako shark's litter is generally 8 to 10 pups. And I have a slightly larger food list than they have. Basically, any bony fish they can get their head on, which includes swordfish, should also include other marlins. Or, not marlins, other marlin-like ones. Squid, other sharks, small marine mammals, sea turtles, and miscellaneous scavenge. In other words, basically, they will eat anything that comes into their path as long as it has a good amount of meat on it. Now, what eats short-fin mako sharks? Other sharks, as always, and of course, orcas. Now, the reason the short-fin mako shark is able to swim as fast as it can, it has short fins, but it's so streamlined that it is incredibly hydrodynamic. If you're familiar with aerodynamic, think that, but in water. It means it minimizes the amount of drag put on by the water. Like, the hammerhead can't move as fast because its head is not all that hydrodynamic. The great whites are able to do short bursts quickly because their shape of their body, the torpedo shape. Same with the tiger sharks. Their issues are they're just really, really big, and it takes a lot of energy to move them. The short-fin mako shark has an even more streamlined body, and it doesn't take nearly as much effort to swim fast, which makes the short-fin mako shark the fastest shark in the world. Look at how much everything's breeding. Look, I got four sperm whales there. There's tiny little cramped space for 4 of them. The whale sharks haven't bred. So I still have plenty of space with which to expand. And I honestly don't know what to do next. I could continue could continue on with marine animals. I could add different type of animal. If I get no suggestions, I have no idea what I'm gonna select. I might do like, I don't know. Yeah, I might randomly select fish. And still try to group them together for, again, educational purposes. This series is meant for educational purposes. And hopefully it's also entertaining. But my hope is from each episode you are able to learn something. On a related note, please do remember to like or dislike the video and or comment and or subscribe as the algorithm demands. But for now, this has been 18-2, and I will see you guys next time.